Yes. So good afternoon, all. I take onset of this session. I'd like to convey my thanks for giving this opportunity to the management and coordinators. Organizing. Right. So why this entrepreneurship development cell and why this business plan writing? How this is correlating with our teaching test. Right. So off late we saw a lot of changes happening around us. Maybe the AICT is revising the curriculum for the engineers by introducing more of interaction with industries per se. And that gives importance for a curriculum which is more of career oriented rather than concept oriented. Right? So we know that of late, many of our faculty members are encouraged to take up this entrepreneurship. As I said, we have a lot of uh, startups has to be taken by the entrepreneurs. So we have to create our own incubation centers in our colleges to encourage our students to come up with innovative ideas and some creative ideas for the startups. So this has become a part of our day-to-day activities as a faculty in engineering colleges. So as a, not only in incubation, I mean entrepreneurship development, so we have also be part of the incubation as a startup. Of late, the startup has become the buzzword for so AICT is encouraging the faculty to become entrepreneurs, to start up their own startups. Right? Some of the activities the faculty members inside the college, what they do is to guide the entrepreneurial students who come for the development of their own innovative ideas. Not only that, so for getting a licensing or getting a patenting of that products. So that is become an extra work for the faculty. So our curriculum as a teaching curriculum is slightly deviate from your routine traditional teaching into an entrepreneurial teaching concepts. We have to introduce more of entrepreneurial concepts in our curriculum to cope up with these developments. What is happening around our environment in engineering teaching? We have to equip ourselves in all perspectives of these startup supports and guidance for the students incubation, getting a license or getting a patent, how to apply for a patent. And these procedures has become part of our teaching curriculum. In this respect, today's session, so we're going to deal about this business plan. How this business plan is related to entrepreneurial startup support. Yes, students have been encouraged to come up with new ideas, innovative patenting. All this are happening in our college campus, and that is not the end for the EDC sales contribution. The next level, we have to move for commercializing the product, whatever the students have incubated are developing our in-house development of research. So the next stage will be to commercialization. For that commercialization, we need to have a good business plan. Why do we need a good business plan? Business plan is a written document which talks about the details about your business, whatever the ideas you have in your mind, whatever the idea the students is having in their mind. Right? Just we have put it down in a black and white format, and the whole thing is done to achieve its goal of getting a good financial for the startups. So business plan is a liaison between the student as well as the faculty who want to commercialize the product into the market. Right. So we need some angel investors or the bank loans or the financial supporters to support our own students with creative idea. For this purpose, we need a good business plan. right? So the business plan has to take into account every activities of your startup, what you're going to do, who you are, and what is the future plan. Those things has to be taken into consideration before you write this business plan. So business plan has become a very vital document for the students as well as the faculty uh, to move along the incubation center to the next level of starting of their uh, business, right? So business plan aims to convince its data to invest money in the company. As I said in the earlier, the business plan is liaison. It's a bridge between uh, the startup as well as the money provider, maybe the financial banks or angel investors, or for that matter, anyone who is going to invest on your ideas. So entrepreneurs conveys their vision of potential investors. So this gives a vision between what you want to do and how you're going to execute your creative idea into a full-fledged business. Those things has to be covered in this business plan. In your business plan, what are the things should be there in person? There's a format for business plan. This is internationally accepted format. So things to be there in your business plan: who you are. Maybe you are a faculty. You having a partnership with your students. You're going to start it as a partnership business. Where exactly you're going to start a business, and who you are, what is your accreditation regarding your patency, or this gives an idea about who you are in the business. Next is what you're going to sell. This should be maybe a product or a service. Service in the sense it can be a consultancy service you can do for the industries. Right? For that purpose, also we need to have a startup. This can be any type of consultancy which comes under services. And the product, of course, any product engineering products which is created by our students or in the incubation center, we have to make it commercial. We need to sell it. So those things has to be mentioned in the business plan. And who do you sell to? This is another important area where we go for the commercialization. Whenever we say that it is a commercialized, we need some customers to buy your product. Right? So we have to identify who is your customers. If it is some automobile components which should be fitted into automobile car or bike, maybe some extension of a carburetor or some extension of engine which can improve your efficiency of the engine. So you are going to sell it to the automobile industry. So those, they are the customers for you. So you need to identify who your customers are. If the innovative product is an automotive product, the automotive industries are your customers. If it is going to be a communication or an app developed by the students, then we know who are the customers will be. Can be all the app users per se, right? So those things has to be mentioned in the whom do you next comes how do you set. If it is a component as we discussing about an automobile component, then how we're going to distribute it, how we're going to reach your customers, how we're going to channelize your product into the market. So those things has to be mentioned, right? Then who is your competitor? This also has to be mentioned. If it is a new product per se, then it's okay, but there will be some substitution for the new product. If not exactly replica of what your innovation is. So we have to identify the nearest competitor, and we say that my product is having an USP, that is unique selling proposition. I'll be unique in my product, and so in that way I can overcome the competition. So those things has to be explained in the business. Yeah, all these things we have to convince our investors to contribute or rather to invest on our innovative idea. Next is what is a roadmap? This is another area where we have to cover and discuss. Right? So over the years, if you are going to get a loan for say 2 years from now. And for this 2 years, what you're going to do every month after month, what is your roadmap, right? So the first month you can be saying that I will be doing this. My startup is exploring the area for that. So for that, I'm taking for a week or a couple of weeks for that. And the next month I'm going to start production. Or the next month I'm going to go for a marketing. The next month I'm going to make it as a commercial. Those things like that. That is what is the roadmap, milestones, and timetable. We're going to see that in detail how this roadmap has to be prepared for business plan person. Then how is it made? Are you going to manufacture it? Are you going to get from the supplier and assemble there? We don't know what type of incubated component we're going to do. Some components can be manufactured, micro components can be manufactured, but some components has to be purchased from the supplier. We have to mention which are the components we are getting from outside the third party vendor, and what is that you're manufacturing in your startup. So those things has to be mentioned. And what are the funding requirements? Yes, this is the area where we are targeting for. What is the amount you're looking for to start your startup? This has to be explained clearly. The funding requirements, the amount of money required. Here we have to clearly mention that how much money you need for your how much money is needed for your startup, and these things has to be clearly mentioned. So we'll see how to create our own budget for that, and what is the expected ROI. So once the money is given to you for your startup, the financiers who are going to finance you, they want to see what is your return on investment. They are the one who is going to invest money on it. So they need some concrete.
கீழே முடிஞ்ச கீழே போல
Sir, sorry for interrupting, sir. Sir.
Okay, sir.
Professor.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, sir. நான் எல்லாத்தையும் மியூட் பண்ணிடுறேன். நீங்க ஆன் பண்ணிக்கோங்க சார். ஒரு நிமிஷம் சார். ஓகே சார். இப்போ நீங்க ஆன் பண்ணிக்கோங்க சார். ஓகேவா சார்?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Please continue.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So the last part of the business plan one should know what is your investment, what is your returns on investment. See, the person who is going to invest money on you, on your new creative ideas of the product, whatever you develop in-house in your college, they want to get something back from it. So we have to clearly mention what is the return on investment. If I'm going to invest money, I need some money to get back. Even if not as a profit, I want to invest. I want to get back what I invested. Right? The bank are looking for that. They're not going to share money, profit from your startups. They want the money, whatever they given as loan, to be paid back. Unlike Nirav Modi or the other man who went outside India. So we need to give a concrete return on investment, cash flow forecasting. So this also should be there in your business. Right. So how a business plan should have a format, right? So internationally, we have a standard format for this business plan. The first, normally the business plan will be around, for a startup, it will be around 20 to 25 pages, not more than that, because being a startup, the product is to be a new product. We don't know how this it's going to be accepted in the market, and we have to do a lot of surveys before you plunge into this startup, right? So this is the format generally we follow in financial services, right? The first page you should have an executive summary, right? So what exactly should be there in the executive summary? It should contain the entire gist of what the business plan is all about. All the 25 pages has to be condensed into one single page, one single, maybe a couple of paras saying that who you are, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, what is the your investment requirements, how much you're going to get back from this. Those things should be given in one single page. Why this executive summary is so important? Because see, for an angel investor or the bankers, lot of business plan, business proposals uh, uh, comes to them for their perusal, but they can't read all the 25 pages of all the business plan. What they normally do is they just go through this, just eyeball this executive summary. If they are convinced with this executive summary, then only they start reading your full business plan. In that perspective, it is very important to have a very effective and very convincing executive summary. The next one is next in the format should be the problem and solution. We know you have developed a product for a problem to solve a problem, isn't it? So the innovation is done for solving a problem. So, for example, we just now talked about a booster in your mileage, something like which increases your carburetor's efficiency, things like that. I don't know what exactly can say for that. That is a problem we are talking about, and the solution you are, what you are giving is the solution. But those things has to be written in small, brief description about your problem and solution in the business plan. Next, about your product and your product's overview. How different is your product from the others, and how it's going to be unique in its features. So those things has to be clearly mentioned in the overview of the business plan. This area talks about the product as well as the, if it is a services, consultancy services, you're going to start what type of consultancy services you are going to do, and be a technical consultancy you can do for industry. For that purpose also you need some startup money, right? So it can be anything. So ultimately it is a product or the service we are talking about, for which you are going to avail the loan from the financial services. Right? So this is the third part of the
பஸ்
business plan.
பஸ் என்ன பஸ் ஸ்ட்ரைக்கு என்ன ஊருக்கு போறியா
Target market. Then the fourth point in the business plan should be the target market. So this is where your business arena is talked about. This has to be clearly mentioned in your business plan. Who is going to be your target market? If it is a small component which increase the carburetor's efficiency, then it should be your automobile industry should be your market, target market, right? So if you say that I'm going to start a business in, for example, UP or Madhya Pradesh, and if you see that there is no target market for car components or the car automobile industries, then the plan won't be approved by the financial services. I think you understand what I mean to say. That target market is, if you're going to start a business, the component, whatever you're going to sell, you should have a market in that area. So starting a business in Chennai, in and around Chennai, is having a meaningful logic in that. Whenever you say that I've developed a component for increasing the fuel efficiency, and we see a lot of automobile industry in and around Chennai. So I'm going to start a business here, and these automobile industries are my target market. So mentioning that who is your target market is foremost important for a good business plan. This will convince the service or the financial providers to assess your business plan. Then once you finish the target market, who are they? Then the competitor analysis. So you're not going to be the only service provider, or rather the solution provider for the problem, for the efficiency of the vehicle. There can be a lot of people who can do a similar item, but definitely you are unique in the sense that you have a patent for that. So you are unique in that nature, but there will be a slight difference between you and your competitor. So we have to do an analysis how good your product is compared to your the competitor's product, and what is your viability of selling more products compared to your competitor, viability of using your product by the automobile industry compared to the other competitors. That has to be clearly analyzed, and we have to mention it. I'll show you how to do that in the later part of this discussion. Then how you're going to manage the business, and what type of operations you're going to do that. So you can, if possible, you can put a line chart saying that I'll be having one CEO, one proprietary. If it is a MSME, we have a proprietary. and down the line we have one production manager, we have one a financial manager if it's going to be a big project, things like that. So that is what is called about what we discuss here about the management of operations, how we are going to operate it, whether it is assembled in your place or it's going to be assembled somewhere else and you're going to be part of it. Things like that has to be explained there. And about your business team. So who's going to work for what are the roles and responsibilities in your team? Who's going to look after production? Who's going to look after marketing? Who's going to look after the sales? Who's going to look after the personnel, the HR? So those things has to be discussed here. That also be as clearly mentioned here in the business plan. See, these will substantiate your possible of getting the loan as early as possible. This will convince the financial providers to get to make a perfect decision of giving a loan or not. And the last is the financial plan. This is the plan where we talk about how much is required from the bank and how much maybe your contribution. Definitely your contribution should be there. Until you show your own commitment in the business plan, in the business, in the startup, nobody is going to give money for you. Right. So what is there should be in the executive summary. As I said, the executive summary gives an introduction to your company, to the whoever reads the business plan. Right. So the executive summary introduces your company, explains what you do, and lays out what you are looking for from the reader. So ultimately, the bank managers or the angel ventures or the joint ventures, they are the one who's going to of late we even see this mass investors are there where they have some thousands of investors grouping together and they just provide money to all the startups. This is also possible. So we have to convince them by writing this business plan. And this executive summary is a phase between you and between the reader and your business entity. So this has to be given utmost important for getting it done. So executive summary can act as a standalone document that covers the highlights of a detailed plan. As I said, by reading the executive summary itself, one should get convinced that you are really an interested businessman, or rather a person who's really involved in doing a business. So that that convincing concept should be there in the executive summary. Next one is the next part of the business plan, as we saw in the format, is the problem and solution. Clearly, we have to mention what is the problem you are solving. What is the problem you are addressing in the society? What is the problem that you are addressing in the automobile industry? If it is going to be a fuel efficient component you have designed, right? If it is going to be a new app developed by you, how this app is going to um, solve the problems of the society. Things like that has to be clearly explained. What is the problem you are addressing in your component, in your incubation, or in your startup, and what is the solution you are going to give for that problem, whatever the society is facing. So if it is going to be a problem solving of the society, of the need of our, then it will be approved very fast. Of course, we can commercialize only if you have a new innovative new innovative solution for the problem, rather than a problem which was there 10 years back and giving a solution. Now nobody is going to buy the product, right? So the product, the innovation, the creative idea, whatever the um, uh, collaboration between the faculty and the student has developed, that should solve the problem of the in the concurrent era, not something which is of the gone eras, right? So the problem should be of contemporary problem, and the solution, whatever you're going to give, should be very apt and very efficient and effective for the end users, right? So the problem summary summarizes one or two sentences of the problem, whatever you're going to solve it. If it is going to be a fuel efficiency problem, you're going to solve it. Say that this problem, this component, what I am going to market or develop is going to be an efficient, fuel efficient component. things like that. That's a problem. Of late, we have this problem of increasing petrol and petrochemical components. So if you design a component which says that it increases the fuel efficiency, and you want to float your own startup, and if you prepare your plan, business plan or business proposal along with your student, if you post it to any of your joint ventures, people will be happily want to invest. They just love to invest in those areas, right? And the solution, as I said, the solution can be solving the efficiency of the engine in our case. Right, so this is what that should be in the second part of the business plan: the problem and the solutions. And the third part is about your product. So we have discussed about the problem, and we said that the problem will be solved if you are going to use my product, the fuel efficient component. Right now, you have to describe how this is going to work, how this is going to solve the problem. That has to be given an elaborate description, right? So whatever you have patent and got the permission from the patent from the government, then that has to be explained here clearly. If we have a patent document can be attached here saying that this has been documented for the patent, right? And this is how it's going to solve the efficiency problem. That is what is has to be mentioned here, if possible, with the proper sketches and the supporting documents for whatever your problem solving, the technique, whatever this thing you are talking about, the problems, the solution for the problem, right? So also you have to explain why the customers will buy your product and services, right? So we know the solution for that. We have a hot problem of fuel efficiency. If they are going to use my product, they're going to increase their fuel efficiency by 25% or 30%. So people will love to buy their product. The automobile industry or whoever they are, your target market, they're going to buy your product because it is highly unique in its nature. Right. Next part is who is going to be your target market. Right. As I said, who's going to be your ideal customer and how many of them are there? That has to be clearly mentioned. As I said, if you are going to start a business in an area where there's no automobile industry and you're developing a product on automobile, then there is no market for you. If you're going to start a place where there is no car industry or an automobile industry, and, so you have to identify who your customers, where you're going to start a business. So those customers have been identified, and you have to clearly mention they are the customers. As I said, not only in automobile industry, if the component is some other components, in an IT field, we have a new app developed or a new software developed for monitoring the coronavirus or things like that. A lot of apps have been developed. If that is the case, we have developed it. So we have to say that whoever is having a mobile phone is my customers. Whoever is having this unique problem, they will be your customers, right? So if you are going to have some medicines, if you are having a college branch as a biotechnology, and you have identified some medicines which solves a problem of maybe the cancer, right? So of late, IIT Madras has been developing a new product for cancer, and they got the patent for that. And if they have an idea of commercializing those things, for them, the ideal customers or the target customers would be the persons who are having affected by the cancer, right? So only the cancer patient is going to buy the product. So they are the target market for those products. So if you are going to develop an app, then who is going to use that app is going to be a target. So those has to be identified, and you have to mention them. These are the people who is going to be my customers for this product. If it is going to be a component which can increase the fuel efficiency, as we were discussing earlier, the component has to be bought by the automobile industry. So they are the customers for our product. Right? So a complete market analysis has to be done, and in all aspects of how much component will be required the automobile industry, how much patients are there in cancer, who's having the cancer disease, something like that. We need to know exactly, to some extent, they quantify how much your quantity, the customer market is, or the target market is. Describe your customer based on the personality type, income level, age, and gender. So this is required for some products, and maybe it's not required for all the products. Maybe you can have your own fuel efficiency component saying that in this locality we have a lot of youngsters who are going to buy bikes. So my component is specialized for the bikes, and if I'm going to commercialize this, most of the bike industry is going to buy the product, because a lot of youngsters are buying bikes, and a lot of manufacturing has been done for those youngsters by the local automobile industry. Those things has to be analyzed and clearly mentioned in the business plan. And the next one is how we are going to market it and how we are going to sell it. So this is a startup person can be good in his creative idea, but that alone is not sufficient to commercialize your product. We need to have a good marketing skills. We should have a good sales team to do that, right? So for that purpose, because ultimately, if the customer is going to buy a product, then only you get a profit. If they're not going to buy the product, the money you're going to invest, it's not going to pay you back, right? So we need to know what type of marketing plan we're looking for, and what is the market segment you're looking for. But those things has to be clearly mentioned in the business plan. And the plan of selling those target markets. To say this plan, business plan is a general form, right? So how we are going to market your product. Initially, nobody will be interested in your product, even if you say that my product is high fuel efficiency. So you have to give some sample to the automobile industry. You have to give some, prepare some, what you can say, just clippings saying that how the product works and things like that. This is what they wanted. I want to market this by reaching the customers by this way. I'm going to put it in a website saying that this is how my product is. I'm going to go in person to the automobile industry and explain the product, about the product. So this is what we cover in this area of marketing and sales. And the pricing of your plan, how we are going to price your product. This is very important, right? If you're going to say that my product is fuel efficient and you're going to charge about 20 to 25,000 rupees for one single component, nobody will be interested in buying it, right? So the bike cost is around 1 lakh, and if you say that my product alone costs about 25,000, and that is not a commercially feasible product. So we need to have a commercially feasible product, and the pricing of the product is very important. If you're going to price too much, nobody is going to buy your product. If you're going to price it very less, then you won't get the profit. So there should be a balance between the upper end to the lower end, and the proper pricing should be explained here. How you are going to price your product has to be explained clearly in this area of marketing and sales. And what type of activities and partnership you need to make the business, that has to be clearly mentioned. If you're not going to do the marketing, and you're not going to do the channelizing the product to the customers, then you should clearly mention that the production alone is my area, and the marketing and the distribution has to be taken by the third party. You can explain it. So try to be honest as fast as possible, because whatever you're going to write here, that is going to fetch you a good returns on it. See, once you get a loan, and if you're going to change the business plan, nothing wrong with it. Instead of going for a third-party distribution, you can start your own distribution. You can have your own logistics to move the product. Nobody's going to question it. But as far as possible, try to be true with your business plan. Typically, a marketing plan deals with these four, what we say, the product, how your product appears, and how it is used by the consumer. That has to be clearly mentioned in the pamphlets or the clippings, whatever you're going to uh, send it to the customers. Pricing strategy has to be mentioned clearly. What are the discounts you're going to do? What are the contracts you can have? What are the memorandum of understanding you can have with the partners? These things has to be clearly mentioned in the strategy of pricing. Promotion strategy, as I said, how to communicate with your customers and what type of promotional activities you're going to um, do so that your product is being taken in the right sense by the customers. Talking about the customers in case of the fuel efficient component at the automobile industry, right? And place the distribution, how we are going to do this. Either you're going to do it yourself or it's going to be a third party. Those things has to be clearly mentioned. And next part of the business plan should be competitor analysis. Right? The competitor analysis talks about who you are, where you stand, and where your competitor stands in the market. What way you are unique compared to the competitor, so that the customers is going to buy your product, right? So the competitor analysis determines the strength and weakness of the competitors within the market. So you have to identify your strength, your uniqueness in the product, and how it is different from the your nearest competitor. Right? The strategies that will provide you with a distinct advantage as to be mentioned. But this is a typical competitor analysis I've taken from the internet. So we can see that this startup is for a pizza shop. Bob is going to start a business, and the other three are the competitor, which he has done in competitor analysis. You can see Bob as the distance between his customers and him, his shop is almost zero, whereas the nearest customer is the Pizza Hut, which is 3 miles away from my target market, right? And this one is away, almost 10 miles away, and this one is almost 7 miles away from the maybe the community where the target market where we're talking about, right? So we can see that there's a clear advantage for Bob when you compare to the proximity of the shop from the target market to the shop, right? So then he compares the price. You can see the price. If he charges 1 rupee here, this fellow is charging 2 rupees, this fellow is charging 3 rupees for that. So he's having a perfect cost advantage or price advantage. And what type of industry they're going to do? He says, I'm a middle industry, medium-sized industry, and these are also small industry. In that case, also he's having an advantage. So like this, we have to create a component analysis. It's not like creating; we have to physically do it, knowing your customer, knowing your competitor, and comparing their product and your product, and how unique is your product compared to the competitor's product. Right. The next part of the business plan will be the management and operations. This talks about how we are going to function, and whatever, whenever you're going to start a business, it's not going to end up with a day or a month. It should be a continuous process. So we need to show some, we have to substantiate some justification saying that the process will be a continuous, the business will be a continuous business, and how we are going to execute this continuous business. Things like that has to be substantiated with your business plan. The operation plans will highlight the logistics and the organization, such as the various responsibilities of management team, who is going to look after what, and who's going to look after the production, who's going to look after the sales. This has to be clearly mentioned. That is what is talked about the operations, and who is the owner of the company, how much contributions each of the partners is going to have. Everything has to be clearly mentioned in this the operation part of the business. And below down this operations and business management, we need to know who's doing what and who's responsible for what. And if you go, if it is possible enough to give a tree diagram like this, that will combines the service, or rather the financial services to give to to sanction the loan for you, or the joint ventures or the angel ventures to provide the loan. So you can see the top, the tree diagram. We have the top owner of the company. Down the line, we have this managers, and if it is going to be an MSME, we don't have this much cluster of tree diagram. It will be just a straight line saying that manager, production manager, assistant manager, supervisor, and down the line we have the workers, right? So this team, what type of team you're going to have, and how many people are there, and who is going to take up what type of responsibility, that has to be explained clearly here in the business plan. Then the last part of the business plan is exactly what we are supposed to explain in deep, because the whole process is business plan is written only for this purpose, getting a financial support from the financial providers, right? So business financial plan is one such area where you explain what is your expenditure, what is your plan of spending the money, whatever you're going to avail from the bank, and what is your return on investments. Those things has to be clearly mentioned here. It's not like I want just 10 lakhs for my business without giving proper explanation for the 10 lakhs. You have to give proper budget for the 10 lakhs. What exactly you're going to split up this 10 lakhs for, and how you're going to spend this 10 lakh for your business. And things like that has to be clearly mentioned in this financial expenses, right? Highlight the key aspects with a chart that shows your planned sales, expenses, profitability. Those things has to be clearly mentioned in your financial. And not only that, once you start, business starts up and has started its full swing, then we have to show that for the next 12 months, how your business going to flourish, and what is going to be a forecast in terms of the sales quantity and the profit, whatever you're going to get, right? So this has to be explained with a simple profit and loss statements. These are saying that these are my expenditure and these are my profit, and at the end of the day, this is what my total profit is going to be at the end of one financial year. Things like that has to be explained. That will give supporting. That will help the service, the financial services, to take a decision on your business plan. Normally, as I said, the business plan for financial aspects will have a 12 months expenditure. We have to show in the business plan, saying that from start of January, if I'm going to avail the loan for the next 12 months, how we are going to use the money, and what is your expected return on investments, and how far you're going to pay back your money, pay back the loan money to the service, financial services, the financial providers, right? So those things has to be covered in this convention. A typical projection will have this fixed cost for your requirements, right? If it's going to manufacture a component, what are the machineries required for manufacturing the component, whatever we discussed now, fuel efficient component, right? So you may be required on CNC machine, you may be required whatever may be the polishing machine, things like that. I'm not sure about that. The manufacturing process, whatever this requirement, those comes under the fixed cost requirement. But it clearly mentioned that these are the capital investment required for my business. And, this is what the selling price, and this is what the direct cost. But don't worry about this direct concepts and direct cost and selling price concept. These are all some technical jargons used for the financial persons for writing a good financial plans, right? So selling price is what the customer gets at the direct cost of the price. The cost price of the product is also the manufacturing process. So those things has to be clearly mentioned in the financial plans. And estimate sales by the month and for at least 1 year has to be given, right? So many components I'm going to manufacture, so I have the capacity to manufacture so many components, and those components can be pushed to the automobile industry. There is a market for me, So whatever I manufacture, maybe 100 pieces a day, that can be observed by the market, by the automobile industries. Those, if that is the case, what is your forecast? What is the estimated sales for the next 1 year? You have to project it and show it as a chart. And monthly cost and sales of the gross profit, this comes under that part of it. And what amount of inventory is required for holding your raw material, that has to also be clearly mentioned. So any manufacturing has to have an inventory, and how much inventory you're going to have. Is it going to be a month inventory, or is it going to be a week's inventory, or it's going to be a fortnight inventory you're going to hold it? That also going to cost the company. So those things also has to be mentioned clearly in the financial plan. Describe your credit, sales, and collection policies. If you are going to sell it to the automobile industry, there will be a credit policy between you and the customers, right? So they're not going to pay on cash on delivery concept. It's not. It won't work in industry. It won't work in an industrial setup. We need to give some credit for them, and what type of collection policy is going to have. Are you going to collect it within a credit for 45 days, or it's going to be a credit for 15 days? Those things also has to be clearly mentioned in this business financial plan, which comes under the business plan. Estimate the business break-even point. This is another important aspect in a business plan, right? And business proposal. How much, where exactly you're going to break it from the loss of the company to the profit of the company. Typically, break-even will be like this. We see the red line below that will be the loss for the company, where you're going to pay the EMI to the bank. You're going to pay back a loan amount to the service, or rather the financial services, whatever whoever they give the money. See, this point can be 4 years or 5 years, based on your depending upon the amount of money you're going to. So once that point is reached, then you can see that you can the profit will be more compared to the previous years. So this has to be clearly worked out and show in your financial plan. And this is a typical financial plan, a typical budget, where you see the components are clearly mentioned. The breakups are clearly mentioned. They are saying that this amount is I'm going to spend it for salary, this amount for repair and maintenance, and some amount is going for marketing purpose, or some amount is going for advertising purpose, and the rent for the manufacturing unit, and the equipments, whatever you're going to buy, things like that, and getting a license and things like that. We need to give some budget report for this, saying that this is the amount of money I'm going to spend for my the next 1 month or the next 2 months. And based on that, we can calculate your financial requirement and project it in your financial plan. Right? So only if you have if you have written like this, if you convince the banks or the financial providers, right? So otherwise, they'll see that you're not will convince with your own business plan, so that the taking a decision will be very difficult for the bankers, right? So this shows your involvement in business. So how involved you are in a business shows only when you project everything in to the micro level, or to the lowest granular level. So that is more important in a business plan. How granular you are in your business plan. That is going to fetch you a good returns on your own business plan. And this is the projection for this diagram. In this chart, they show it for 4 years. This 4 months, we need to show it for 12 months. Normally, in case of financial plan, right? So this is the direct cost for production. How much is that? This is my expenses. This is my tax I'm going to pay. This is my total expenses of all these things, and this is what my net profit percentage is. These are all just projections, right? Based on your product manufacturing cost, based on your selling price, based on your expenditures. All this is just a projection. Why of doing this? This shows your interest in business. This will help the bankers to take a decision on how to how much money you need for your business and how much they can provide you. Those things can be taken from these financial plans, right? And we talked about these milestones and in the business. This is also very important. How far you're going to utilize your uh, available time and how effectively and efficiently you're going to use your money and time. And that is shown in this milestone diagram, right? So we see that primary research, something like that, it takes about 4 months. And we have the left hand on the vertical column, we have all the activities that's going to happen. And on the top, we see that this all the months have been mentioned. So for the first month, I'm going to do the research. That's going to go till June. And the feasibility analysis is going to start by the May, and I'm going to complete it by June. The relation securities, things like that, we can have different our own concepts here. We can see that fundraising, neighborhood marketing, all this I'm going to do this. So for the next 1 year, what type of activity are you going to have? What is the activity you're going to do so that the business shows a positive vibe compared to comparatively, right? So the milestone plan is very important in a business plan. You have to show what exactly you're going to do each and every week or every month or for the person to convince your banker. This we have seen that. And this is how normally a business plan we have. And based on this, only the bankers will provide you the required money, what are the amount you are going to claim for, or rather asking for to start your own startups, right? So being a startup, being a new product, being a creative ideas, they have very conservative thinking of whether to go for you by helping you a good loan or not. So we have to convince them by using a good business plan. So in that way, as a faculty, we have to convince our own selves that the product is really good. We have to develop a good business plan so that whenever we are going to submit it to these bankers, we exactly get the loan without any problem. So there should not be any doubt when whoever is going to read the business plan. In that way, as a faculty, we have to develop the business plan and help our students to uh, get their own startups, right? So they have an idea, but we have the way to do that, to make it as a commercial, right? So the idea is maybe the students, and to make them take them to the next level, to understand their concepts and making it as a feasible business. We have to help them by giving a good milestones for the business plan. They may be having a good idea, but to move to the next level, they have this hindrance, and that is where the as a faculty we have to give a good guidance for those students and to make it as a good commercial product, right? And last, we see that what should not be in a business plan. No false documents should be there, false information should be there. And it says that outdated historical financial information should not be there. We should not give that. Last year I have spent that money so much, so I'm giving this much, giving an escalation of 10%, and this is what my expenditure is going to be. So we should not do that. We should do that from the scratch. This is what is my expenditure is. This is what my requirement is. Based on the previous studies, you should not be have your own business or financial plans. Unsubstantiated assumption. None of your business plans should have assumptions saying that UP is going to start an automobile industry in 2025. For that, I'm going to start a business in UP and MP. Nobody will accept that. That's an assumption. Nobody is going to help you out, right? So no assumptions should be there in the business plan. It should be realistic, whatever the facts and figures you put in your business plan. And lack of specific detailed strategies. What are the strategies you mention it? That should not be confuse the person who is reading. The strategies, whatever the business strategies you're going to say, the marketing strategies per se, the market, the pricing strategy, whatever you say, clearly mention it, what is that you have in your mind, how we are going to execute that into an action. That is more important. Do not give a vague idea of what you're going to do. No indication that the entrepreneur has anything at stake. This is very important. What is your contribution in the business? That is very important. You may have the idea of um, you may have the patent or you may have the good idea, but your contribution should be there. Getting a patent is, of course, it is a stake on in the business. Apart from this, what is your involvement in the business? You have to clearly explain it. Maybe you can say that I'm going to invest some money in that business. Say 10% of the business, whatever the money I have projected, I'll be investing myself and to start. Yes, lack of understanding of financial information should not be there. Clearly mention what is your financial requirements are, and submitting a stained rough copy should not be there. It is general, not should not do should not be there in the business plan. Whatever you submit, it should be submitted in a very good folder, and it should nicely print out. First things like this. That was talking about submitting stained copy should not be there. Yes. So we are running short of time. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Yes, sir. Prem, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Meanwhile, participants, if you got any doubt regarding this, you can ask sir right now.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah, thanks for the nice presentation, sir.
Yes.
Can the video recordings be shared, sir, by the organizers, so that in the future also we can refer?
Okay.
Sure,
Okay.
sir. Prem
Thank you,
Kumar, sir, has to say.
Okay, sir. I will. We will be sharing it, sir. We will be sharing it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And I mean, today's feedback also I've been posted, sir. You can.
Okay, sure, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Senthilnathan, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your nice presentation.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir.
More information regarding the business plan and all, sir, and tie up with the students also for for their futures. Thank
This
you.
is a need of the hour, sir, because AICT is insisting on starting our own
Yes,
startups now.
Yes,
So
sir.
we should
Sure.
be aware of what is a business plan, how to start a business.
Yeah, definitely, sir. Definitely, sir. It always it will be collaborated only, sir, between the student and the things. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you for nice session. Thank you all.
Yes.
And we'll be meeting by Monday 10 o'clock for the next session. Thank you very much. We can all leave. Thank you, sir.